If you're looking for a modern sports car with respect for its tradition, look no further than this Nissan Z. The Nissan Z is back for 2023 and it's the most powerful Z there is. Today we're going to take a look at the exterior, the interior, and get this out on the road for a test drive. Let's get started. So right off the bat, I got to know, what do you think? It definitely looks like some of the old Zs, similar body style, but a little bit retro as well with the modern flair. Let me know what you think. Now, you're going to get in the US at least a sport and performance model, and this one is a performance grade. So the 7th Gen Z right up front here, I like the way this grille looks with those slots right there. You've got a sensor, we've got LED headlights that are going to be standard, and 2 LED half circles running around each of those lights on the top and the bottom, and then you've got that top one that turns into the turn signal. Another thing is this front chin spoiler is going to be part of the performance grades. Then you're going to get 19-inch wheels here, which are going to come with these red calipers. They're lightweight wheels and they look pretty good. You can get monotone or two-tone paint options just like this one. This is a premium combo with this white and the black. The white is nice and metallic-y and sparkly, and it kind of is like a split roof design because you've got that somewhat chrome strip running above the windowsill to separate the roof from the body. Now this 2023 Z has a midship design where the engine is further back, but it is rear wheel drive. So I'd love to know what you think of the overall styling here. You definitely can tell that everything is set back to the rear end. And the new Z also gets larger monotube shocks, new front geometry, and rear suspension tuning. It has a 10% more rigid chassis, and the performance grades get a sport tuned suspension. And then finishing out the rear end, you've got these matching taillights. So this kind of retro squared off rear end with this low slung rear hatch. What do you think of these taillights? I think those look nice. Then you've got the Z badge back here, dual exhaust back here as well. Looks pretty good. Now the cargo space for the Z is a little bit unique. First of all, you have this lift back. I honestly like the lift back. I think that looks cool, and it kind of opens up this cargo space even more. The one thing that's going to limit you cargo space wise is the overall depth. It is not very deep, so if you have something tall, it's not going to fit, but you have good width actually between the back area here, and the wheel wells definitely impede the rest, but it gives you access to the rest of the cabin here with the storage behind the front seats. There's no spare tire here, but you will get a tire inflator kit. Now the key fob for the Z is the same as every other Nissan, the same typical key fob. No remote start on the key fob for the auto or the manual, but it is a smart key system. You use this button to lock it or unlock it, and you've got this nice, almost flush door design. These are a new seat for the Z. So we've got the blue leather in this performance model, and we've got this like micro suede Alcantara type feeling. Perforations coming down here. The bolstering on here is actually good size. It's not the softest of materials here for a leather, but the insert is nice and soft with that different type of material. You're going to get manual adjustments for your height and for your lumbar support. Then on this performance grade, you'll find power adjustments for the rest right there. The steering wheel is manual tilt and telescoping. It doesn't have a huge motion, but that's because there's not a whole lot of room in this cabin. You will have heated seats right there for 2-staged heated seats on this performance model. And these seats are a little bit stiff and a little bit rigid, but they have been comfortable for me. If you're bigger, you're going to want to get in here and try it out yourself. And then behind each seat, you've got a little storage area to put stuff, and it's actually really convenient to stash a few things. There's also a little pull-out space right here that can store like your manual or like a little glove box. Now over on the door, on the inside, we've got a soft material here to rest your arm. You've got that nice micro suede Alcantara type of feeling on the door. It's really soft. And then you've got a little storage bin down there and enough space to put a decent sized bottle. Start it up. You've got the Z branding right there on your display, and a couple different options for this digital cluster. Steering wheel has good controls on it. They're easy to use. It's a nice layout. No complaints with that. You'll get paddle shifters on the automatic model. And then up here, like I said, digital display, standard here, and a couple of different options. Let me show you. So you just use your steering wheel, change meter view, sport mode. So if you really want to keep an eye on those RPMs, this is definitely the way to go. And then you can change information on the left. Otherwise, we were in normal mode, and then enhanced mode makes the stuff in the middle bigger. So if you don't need to look at your gauges so much, this is the way to go. I kind of have liked to just keep it in normal mode for a balance between gauges and information. You've got 3 analog pod gauges right up here. That's definitely a retro look. I think it looks pretty cool. And down here, we get a 9-inch screen on this performance grade, and we even get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Standard will be a 6-speaker system, but we have the 8-speaker Bose system on this performance model with this particular screen. The rest of the screen is just like kind of old Nissan. There's nothing too fancy about it. It's not a completely new system. It's just like the other Nissans that you've seen. Just down from there, you're going to get your climate controls. You've got these 3 dials. I like how simple and easy it is to use those. Plus, we've got a USB-C and a USB-A charging port. There's no wireless charging down there. I'm really surprised by that. It's just a storage mat. And then the S mode, which we'll talk about for your manual mode in the test drive. So one little complaint I would say that I have with the clutch is I think the bite point's a little far back than what I like, or a little closer to me to where it's kind of a longer travel. The gear selector here, reverse, is all the way over and down. This 6-speed manual has some nice short throws. It's pretty easy to use. And the S mode even makes a difference, which we'll talk about. Heated seat buttons there. You got an actual handbrake right here, which I really like. A good sized cup holder right there that's always exposed. Otherwise, check it out. You can slide it back, have another cup holder, or you can pop it up and have storage under here. I like being able to have a second cup holder if you want, or being able to cover it up for more armrest, and this is actually nice and soft. The glove box for the Z is lockable and it's soft opening, but it is tiny. Automatic dimming rearview mirror up there with garage controls, and then the visors have just these little slide outs here. One thing I forgot to mention, inside this center armrest is a 12-volt power outlet. And there's even another one under the glove box. That might actually be a good spot to plug in like a fuzz buster. Now under the hood for the Z, this is the most powerful version of a Z there has ever been. It's rear-wheel drive only as well. So standard here is going to be a direct injected 3-liter V6 twin turbo with 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. Now right off the bat, Nissan gives you the option of a 9-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. The 6-speed manual is what we have right here, whereas the Supra right away only gave you an auto. Now it gives you a manual. The drive shaft is a carbon fiber composite, and you have a high performance clutch in here as well, and the performance models even get rev matching. Miles per gallon with this manual model only gets 20 mpg combined, but the auto will give you 22 combined. And this performance grade is going to give you a mechanical limited slip differential. All right, y'all, we are behind the wheel of the Nissan Z. Now I have driven this before, but I drove the automatic. Now we're in the manual, and this does have automatic rev matching, so you hit that S mode button, you hold it down, and then it will show the gear plus S, or just regular gear if you're in normal mode, like traditional manual transmission. And it feels more like a traditional transmission than the ones I've been in lately. So you'll have to test drive it for yourself. And what I mean by that is some of the other ones seem almost like assisted or boosted. I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like it helps you drive a manual, where this one just feels more traditional, I guess. So you'll have to test drive it yourself. I did mention the clutch. I'm not a huge fan of the clutch bite point. It seems like it's got to travel a little further than what I like, but it's not bad. Now the Z sounds pretty good, and this performance model actually gets active noise cancellation and some sound enhancement. So I'll try to let you listen in as we drive. It's got a nice sound, especially as you get those RPMs up, but you don't have to get those RPMs up to get good power out of here. You've got good torque at the early ranges. And with a manual transmission, I prefer a naturally aspirated engine versus a boosted engine like this, but I still think this is fun. And just listen. It sounds good. I mean, it's not obnoxious or anything like that. And this actually has some pretty firm steering. Nissan, has had hydraulic steering in their pickups before, and this is not, but this feels stiff, kind of. It feels like a heavier car compared to like the Supra, for example. If you want something that's more lightweight, feels more tossable, go for the Supra. If you want something that feels more planted, something that feels heavier and more muscly, maybe go for this Z. Okay, so we are at just under 2,000 RPM in 6th gear. Now, I don't want to lug it, but you still get decent power output, even at those low RPMs in a high gear like this. So that's one thing that's kind of what I mean about, I don't like turbos as much in manual transmissions. And this is just me. I didn't grow up with the turbo. So it just feels different with a manual. I like getting those RPMs, you know, revved up. But let's downshift here. We get some automatic rev matching. Get those RPMs up. It scoots. It gets moving in a hurry. It really does. And it holds the ground well. Just keep it in a couple gears and have some fun. It gets pretty loud in here, but it's a nice sound. It's got that nice buzz. And you don't have a 4-cylinder sound, you still get that V6 sound, a decent size engine in here too. Lower RPM sound. Oh yeah, it still sounds good. And here's something to know. This actually still has radar cruise control. So you've got the distance pacing cruise control even on this particular model, or on a manual transmission, I should say. It's got blind spot indicators in here, the automatic braking as well. So I mean, it's got the safety features, that the lane departure warning type thing. So it's got what you might want if you want some of those modern features. We don't have a couple things, like there's no wireless charging, there's no ventilated seats, there's no heated steering wheel, some of those comfort features, but this thing is based off of fun and performance. I would personally go for a lower end model because you still get the same power output, but something cheaper. The one thing I gotta say is this does have here, automatic rev match right there, but this does have a fair amount of road noise, as you'd expect. Now to wrap things up on this 2023 Nissan Z, this performance grade with the manual transmission and this combo is definitely nice, and it's very fun to drive. I can certainly see the appeal for a compact sports coupe like this if you really love to drive. At this price point, you can see you could look at the Supra as well, you know, another competitor JDM like this, but which one would you go for between those two, the Z or the Supra? There's definitely still a lot to like, even though there's nothing too flashy or wow factor about this car other than the fact that it is fun to drive. But I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Leave your comments, let me know, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.